Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 21 career mode, and today we are finally here to finish off the Moto3 season. So we've got the penultimate and final round of the season at Malaysia and Valencia in this episode. So it's actually taken me quite a while to get through Moto3 this year, and that's mainly just because I've been so busy. But fortunately, I've now got a bit more free time. I've got 3 weeks off with no work to do, so I should hopefully be able to put out a lot more videos for you guys to enjoy. So we should be able to make a really good start on the Moto2 Championship over the next, well, we should be able to finish it in the next 3 weeks, I would have thought. So we should be making a good headway through this career mode very shortly. But first of all, of course, we've got to finish off this season. So we've got the Malaysian Grand Prix first. In the past, that's been a pretty good track for me overall. It's been fairly decent, and the AI have not been too good there, so we'll head into the Malaysian Grand Prix and hopefully that form can continue. So I've just done one lap here and I've gone 1.8 seconds quicker than Yama Masia, so I think that is going to be pretty safe to get us into qualifying 2. This is what I meant about it not being a great track for the AI, although you can see that Masia is fastest in the first sector, but honestly that was my first couple of corners around the circuit on the game for a few days, so I imagine my first sector probably wasn't too good. My last sector as well, I made a couple of mistakes, so it'll be interesting to see how much they close up, but 2 seconds clear, that should be plenty good enough to get us through into qualifying 2, so I'll see you at the end of this session and see how much they've closed up. So in the end, the AI did close up a considerable amount, but they're still about a second off, and honestly I was only about a second underneath their time through the 3rd sector, and then it was about 2 seconds when I came up towards the line, so it seems like the last sector, they're really susceptible to time loss, which has been pretty common for the AI, to be honest, in the past. They're not very good on the brakes into the final turn. They lose quite a bit of time. But interestingly enough, you see it's Rodrigo and Alcoba in 3rd and 4th, obviously Binder in 2nd. Romano Fenati's actually done pretty well there in 7th place, but where has Masia gone? Masia was 2nd. Masia's ended up in 12th. He didn't actually improve, apparently, even though it looked like he was going to. Same with Suzuki, so perhaps it's been a bit of an issue here with the simulated time. You can see McPhee's down in 18th, so he's not going through as of now, but I'm sure in the next sessions he'll improve. But we'll head into qualifying 2 now then, and we'll see who's in there with us. So here we are then. You can see some of the AI improved, Masia being one of them, obviously McPhee as well. You can see that Acosta as well actually jumped up into 2nd place. But coming through Q1 then is Sasaki, Onshu, Guevara and Foggia. To be honest, you get the same. There's probably about 8 riders that come through Q1, and it's just 4 of those 8 every time, and it's been like that throughout the season. It's always been the two Tech 3s, Guevara, Foggia, Fenati, I think occasionally Garcia as well. I think Antonelli maybe a couple of times. It's the same sort of riders always coming through Q1, and the same sort of riders in Q2 every session therefore. So we'll head into this now. It is worth noting that it's actually cloudy here, so that's actually going to help out a lot, because at Malaysia the temperatures are so high, it's actually pretty difficult to make a soft tyre last an entire lap. It probably will go off before that, or it'll get too hot to the point where it's not useful. But because it's cloudy, that should help quite a lot. The race is normal. There's no cloud for the race, it's just clear. So definitely be hard tyre on the front, hard tyre on the rear, medium tyre on the front for the race. No doubt about that in my mind. But for this qualifying session, the soft should be a little bit more pleasant than I was actually expecting. You can see a 2:16.1 there for John McPhee. It's around about what they did in practice, if I remember correctly. So we should be on pole position here. We had a big margin in free practice, and as we know, the AI tend to go slower in qualifying, not faster. And now I'm on softer tyres, so I should be even quicker, higher fuel mode as well. Potentially the AI were in a lower fuel mode in free practice, but I hardly doubt it. They usually run pretty high fuel modes. Well, some of them anyway, the top riders tend to. So yeah, I think this should be our pole position. It might be a bit of a boring race, a bit like in Australia where we got a big lead and pulled away. Although I made a big mistake in the first corner there, super wide. That'll have cost me a fair amount of time. So much grip when you turn in though, so much more than on the mediums. Just the edge grip is immediately there, you can feel it straight away. It is worth noting as well, this is my first video since the patch came out, so the new patch that updated the MotoGP models and textures and probably changed a few other things as well. I think it changed it added rider pictures as well to the game for Moto2 and Moto3, so I'm not using my modded ones anymore. It is now the official ones, because they're slightly higher quality, because Milestone get better textures to use than what you can find on the internet. So through turn 6 and the rear stepped out quite a bit on the change of direction. I kind of forgot about that. The last couple of races the rear tyre's been pretty well behaved, since Misano and Aragon really. But yeah, I completely forgot that's a bit of an issue. We're 1.3 under in the 2nd sector already, so we're definitely on course for a good one, because we gained a lot of time in the 3rd and 4th sector in practice. He actually braked very deep into this hairpin deeper than I actually anticipated, because I thought I braked a little bit too late in practice and sort of made it, and I broke a bit too early there, honestly. I could have gone a bit further. I'm kind of used to using that sign as a braking board, but in Moto3 it's a little bit excessive because you're a bit slower. You've got obviously a lot less mass to slow down, so the braking is probably a bit later into a hairpin. The rear stepped out again though. You can see on the right hand side the rear tyre is extremely hot even though it is cloudy. So that's what you're going to get. Well, 1.3 seconds underneath, so we actually didn't gain anything through that sector because it was a bit scrappy, but not the end of the world. Down towards the final turn, we gained big time here. I think I gained about 8/10 on them in practice. I mean, I'm not going to hold myself to that and say I'm definitely going to gain 8/10 again, but I'm saying that there was a big amount of time to be gained here in practice. I'm going to brake around about that curb. Honestly, again, actually probably braked a bit earlier. I broke a lot later in practice. I actually went really wide into the last corner, which is sometimes a benefit, but as we come up towards the line then, what is the time going to be? 1:11, 1:12, 1:13, 1:30. Yeah, see, 2.4 seconds. We gained a whole second. I think 1.1 seconds we gained in that last sector. 13.6 there. 2.4 seconds on pole. That's going to be good enough. There's no way they are going to beat that. So we're going to be on pole position here for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Once again, on the pace at this circuit. And again, it is on 120% like it has been throughout the whole season. It's just, at this circuit, historically, they've been pretty bad. So in the end then, we do end up on pole, unsurprisingly. 2.1 seconds clear of Yama Masia in second place. Gabby Rodrigo ends up in third. Fourth for Darren Binder and fifth for Pedro Acosta. But I did notice whilst I was fast forwarding that the AI's choice of tyre is extremely peculiar because Masia second place was on a set of hards. Now, in the race, that might be more than acceptable because of the temperatures, but one, it's cloudy, two, it's a qualifying session. Why would you not be on a soft tyre on at least one end of your bike? I mean, you know, some riders overheat the front more than I do necessarily. I mean, I guess the AI aren't going to be quite, you know, that different from each other. They're all going to be pretty much the same, but, you know, you could potentially have a soft rear. You might look after the rear better or something, but hards in a qualifying? No wonder they're so far off the pace, but we'll head into the race now then. I will double check the AI difficulty. It should still be 120 because I've not changed it, so it'll still be the same. And I'll have to do the trick anyway to back out, so I'll just check it when I'm doing that. So then, I did just quickly do the fix. I'm not even sure if it's necessary anymore because there was something in the patch about fixing the AI, so I don't know whether the issue itself is actually fixed out. It doesn't happen. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, but we were still on 120% AI because I did go and check because it was a little bit concerning that they were so far off. But no, it just seems like they don't have any pace at this track, and obviously the weird tyre choice, you know, probably played a part in that to some extent. So we'll go. It's actually recommending me hard, which is interesting. Actually, it might not be far off because if you look at that front tyre was after one lap. That was half worn. I mean, on the right hand side, 42%. After one lap. So actually, you know what? I am going to go with hard. Like Masia did in qualifying, but this makes more sense because it's a race. Just to look after the tyres a bit more. So I didn't actually realise how destroyed my front tyre was, but that was pretty much destroyed after one lap in practice. So yeah, hard seems to be the only reasonable option at this circuit. I would assume there'd be massive drop-off if you're using anything else. So we'll get this race started. It might actually slow me down a bit using two hard tyres, so maybe the AI have got a shot.
The Sepang circuit is ready for another Malaysian Grand Prix. Just a few moments to go until the riders battle away on track.
So once again, it is a Masia, well, Masia 1-2. We've got Rodrigo on the other end of the front row as well. Down to traction control 4. We're still in Power Mode 3, waiting for the lights we got here then at Malaysia. Lights out, away we go. We've not had the best launch off the line once again. Down to big wheelie. I was going to say traction control 2, but I meant Power Mode 2. We've lost the lead to Masia already as we go down towards the first corner. Rodrigo is going to pass us as well, I think, on the right-hand side as we brake for the first corner. Going to try and sweep it around the outside, closing up to the back of Masia. I've gone in a little bit wide. That might leave us susceptible to Rodrigo on the inside. Yes, it does. So Rodrigo gets through, but he's gone a bit wide through turn 2. Now I'm going to get on the power as early as I can. Try and get past Gabby here. He's still got the inside. Going to try and run around the outside of him. Oh, almost a bit of contact there. I had to pick up the bike a bit, but I think he lifted out of it just to avoid that contact. So there we go then, up into second position. Not been a terrible start, honestly. One of my better ones. Obviously, Australia was probably the best one because we actually maintained the lead. But one of my better starts because I didn't lose a load of positions off the line. And Masia already looks like he's probably struggling compared to me, because look how much we are gaining on him. No wonder we're so much faster in the practice and qualifying sessions if they're carrying this lack of corner speed through these corners. I mean, I'm not even in the right gear. I just didn't want to hit him at the back. Here we go. They've got a really good run straight past Yama Masia, like he was standing still, in fact. We tip it into turn 7. He's back up the inside though, so fair play to Malaysia. He braked a lot earlier than me and then cut back underneath, so, you know, can't really say anything bad about that. So Malaysia takes the lead once again, but down towards the hairpin. Am I going to be able to outbrake Malaysia? He goes in a bit wide. I'm looking for the inside. He's actually, again, done that a bit better. So maybe this sector, they're not too bad, but the first couple of sectors, they really weren't on the pace. It's only a 4-lap race in this one, so we've not got a massive amount of time to pass him, but we've got the run once again. But we're going to be stuck on the outside. Again, it seems like the AI just love to hug the inside, but we're going to get him up the inside here through turn 12, cut it in front of him through the infamous turn 13. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, 13 to 14. Messia's on the inside. Messia's crashing to me, and I'm down again. Messia, are you serious? So Yama Messia takes us out here. A bit of racing contact, to be honest. I mean, he went up the inside. Potentially, I turned in on him a little bit there, but this race has suddenly got interesting because I didn't have to run to my bike this time because I turned off the bike retrieval. And out the back of the pack, I'm going to have to try and carve my way through, but I've not got the time particularly to do that. So, yeah, this one is going to be an interesting race. But the contact with Messia, he kind of went up the inside of me. I was sort of turning in. I don't know whether I just completely hit him, to be honest, or whether he just ran wide into me. A bit of a racing contact, I guess. But 2:27 on that first lap then. The rear tyre is very, very overheated, but I need to get my head down and catch up to this group in front. It's taken me about half a lap to catch up to these guys, and it's a shame because there's literally only 4 laps. I've not got enough time to really take ages to catch up to them, so I'm going to have to try and make the passes immediately as I've caught to the back of Yuki Kuni, and then in front of him is Andy Farid Istar. So the 200 Team Asia bikes not having the best weekend here at the back. Not sure if they've been near here most of the season, to be honest, because I've not been back here much. When I have been behind, I've been much further behind. So here we go then, straight the way past Kuni. Hopefully we can try and pass Istihar very quickly as well. Up the inside of Istihar, we're going to try and get this RBA as well. Well, actually called BOE now, aren't they? The BOE Our Ride team it is called this season, not the RBA bikes anymore. It's not been RBA for a few years. But Istihar got back up the inside, but I got the better exit than Istihar. So we're in the slipstream here of Riccardo Rossi. Obviously got a podium in Le Mans in real life. So now in the slipstream of my teammate Tatai Salac on the inside as well, another podium runner from Le Mans. So the podium runners of Le Mans in real life not doing too well. We're swooping it around the outside, bit of contact with Sasaki almost. We've pushed one of the Brewster bikes a little bit wide, but we're going to get a hell of an exit out this last corner. Up to Palmo 3, Acosta does the fastest at 2:14.5. What am I going to do as we come up towards the line? 2:14.4, so slightly faster still. And here we go, past Sasaki and past Nepa as well. So we're now up into the top 21 once again. So only a few more positions to points, and Nepa still trying to get the inside. Well, that was very close across the front of Nepa. I didn't mean to be that aggressive over the front of him. I was just trying to turn it in. Really cut up Stefano Nepa there. Adrian Fernandez then in front of us, battling with Lorenzo Fallon. So right on the back of Fernandez now. We're looking at the inside of him already on the power. Up to power mode 3. We'll go for it. See if we can try and make this move around the outside because we had so much more speed than Messia through this section on the first lap. Bit of contact with Fernandez. He's really blocking me here. We should be able to get the inside here and then hopefully flick around the outside for the next part. Yes, we do. So we've passed Adrian now. Up next is Lorenzo Fallon on the power. Try and go around the outside as we went up the inside of Messia through that section on the first lap. Now it's Max Koffler in front of us. Then it's Alcoba. So Alcoba not having the best weekend down here. And oh! Cut to that corner a little bit, almost just in the rear end. Fair track limits 1 in there. Not going to lie, I didn't mean to cut the corner like that. I was just trying to turn in and get the most speed I could through that corner. And I misjudged it a tad, but I don't think you can say I'm particularly, gaining an advantage because I am miles behind in the pack already anyway, and we've got a track limits warning for it. So I'm currently 4 tenths underneath my fastest lap. But here we go then, close up to the back of Koffler, up to Palmo 3 again. We're going to have a look up the inside of here into this corner, up the inside of Max Koffler. Koffler's going to try and run it around the outside. I'm on the power as early as I can. So Alcoba just in front of us, but I can't get it flicked over through this section because Messia got up underneath me on the first lap and Istihar did it on the second lap as well. Alcoba goes a little bit wide in front on the power, up to Palmo 3 once again. So just trying to use this Palmo 3 sparingly because we've got a lap over target, so we've got a bit left to use. Here we go, flying past Guevara, then it's Artigas, and we're back up into the points paying position. So we're top 10, could be on the card here. Antonelli's just in front of us as we go down towards the last corner. We're closing up way too much to Antonelli up the inside of Nicolo. Yes, that one stopped. I had to dive up the inside of him to avoid him. That's allowed Artigas to get past him as well. So that was a bit sloppy from me, not going to lie, but I thought I was going to hit him, so I just took the better option. And honestly, didn't lose a massive amount of time. Still fastest up of the race in the slipstream then of Nicolo Antonelli. We're going to get back up into 14th position as we go down towards this first corner. And we're on to the last lap now, so this is where it really counts. And there is a decent group in front. We could still get up into the top 10 here. Darren Binder then leads the race at the minute. Gabby Rodrigo in second place. Acosta in third. Dennis Onshu and Yamanaka just in front of us. Hopefully we could try and pass a few. Obviously we went from 21st up to 14th on that previous lap. So if we could have a similar kind of improvement, we should go up into the top 6, but that will probably be quite hard because these AI will be harder to pass since they're close to the front. We've almost hit Yamanaka at the back there though, on the power as early as I can. Around the outside of Ryusai Yamanaka. Hopefully we could try and get him, and there's the other Husqvarna bike. Obviously we were passing Adrian Fernandez around this point of the last lap, and we got Dennis Onshu and Romano Fenati, the Q1 specialist, right in front of us, and up the inside of Dennis, up the inside of Romano as well. So now up into 11th place. Masia actually got back on so far up the order because he's in 10th place, so Masia had me off and is still in front of me in this race. Well, that's not going to last for too much longer, hopefully. Try not to cut this corner again. We've got 0.8 of a lap worth of fuel left after the race, so we should be fine. We've got Mino just in front of us, and we're going to get back up into the top 10 if we can pass Mino here. And Masia is just ahead as well, and we're up the inside. That's going to be close with Yalma Masia, but we've passed Mino because of it, so we've got Mino there on that curb. Masia is up next, then it's Foggia, and then I think it's Kaito Toba. Foggia and Toba going at it in front as well. There's a bike I can't identify a few bikes further up the road, but I don't think we have to worry about them. I don't think we're going to catch them up quite. But if I can beat Masia, that's all I want, because of course we had the contact with Masia at this point on the first lap. So here we go then, closer to the back of Yama Masia. Going to try and square this corner off perfectly. Hope that Mino doesn't come up the inside. He goes a bit wide there. Masia in front on the power as early as I can. I've not exited that corner perfectly, but hopefully we can try and get Masia here. So we're going to be up into the top 10 positions. Yes, we are. We've got 0.5 laps of fuel left, so I'm going to stick power mode 3 till the end of the lap here. We've got 9 tenths underneath my personal best so far. The inside of Dennis Foggia on the brakes. He's trying to hang it around the outside. Toba just in front of us as well. Try and get on the power as early as I can on the inside of Kaito Toba. Can we out-drag him towards the line? Here we go. Can we pass Toba? I don't think we'll quite be able to do it. Actually, we might be able to as we come up towards the line. Are we going to just get him? I think we did. I think we might have just got 7th on the line there. So in the end then, only 3.853 seconds off the lead. That was actually tied with Toba, but I must have just had a wheel in front, up to 7th place. Honestly, not a bad recovery ride there. I will take that. Absolutely. Having a crash, still finishing in the top 10. That is pretty good. I'm not going to lie, I'm quite happy with that. Fastest lap as well, 12.8, which is, you know, compared to what the AI were doing. I was passing the AIs during that as well. We could have gone way faster if I was out front of my own. But yeah, pretty good recovery ride. We should have actually met the race objective still with that. So even with the crash, we're actually still going to get paid, which is nice. So in the Riders' Championship then, Binder moves back up into 2nd place. You can see only 84 points behind now. Obviously, he was over 100 behind before. But of course, with that bad race result for me, he moves back ahead. Masia drops further behind me because of course we beat him in the race still. McPhee then still 4th in the championship, and Suzuki in 5th. Acosta then still sat there in 6th. He's a little bit off the back of Tatsuki, but John's got to watch out because Tatsuki's pretty close to him. In the Teams Championship then, literally nothing has changed. Red Bull KTM IO just still within a mathematical shot of the title at this point, because they needed 45 points in Petronas Sprinter Racing to actually be winning the Teams Championship at this round. They haven't got that. They've only got 39. So Red Bull KTM IO mathematically can still win the championship, but it's very unlikely. They'll need both Petronases to crash, and they'll need a 1-2. I don't even think a 1-3 would cover it. Actually, it would just about, yeah, 1-3 would just cover it. So they need a 1-2 or a 1-3. Anything worse than that, like a 2-3, that's not enough. So they need a race winner, and they need the other rider to be on the podium. So very unlikely for that to happen, but it could still happen. So this Teams Championship is very much still alive. But honestly, I quite enjoyed that race. Trying to pull all those passes, trying to commentate on those passes at the same time. Didn't really make many mistakes. The only mistake I can think of was when I thought I was going to hit Antonelli up the inside, so I had to let off the brake and run in a bit wide. That cost me a few tenths, probably cost me the position to John McPhee, if I'm being totally honest, but you know what, we got knocked off. We beat the guy that knocked us off. I'm not sure how he respawned so quickly, by the way, that he was still in the top 10. Maybe he didn't crash, I'm not sure, but he respawned way too quickly to still be in the top 10 when I was off the back of the group, so even with the bike retriever off, the AI have an advantage on the respawn, so that's not great. Hopefully they can rectify that. But enough rambling now then, we'll head back to the career hub, see what we get for this weekend, and then head into Valencia for the final round of the Moto3 season. So this weekend then we gained 8,100 reputation points, which takes us up to 148,650. And from the race, we gained 6,658 credits, which takes us up to 125,113. And once again, we actually passed a couple of objectives here. We didn't get without falls, unfortunately, through no fault of my own, of course, but not much you can particularly do about that. We didn't do any of the practice programs except track study and top speed, because I did them unintentionally. So we now have a load of research data, but we have got a fully maxed bike, so I guess it doesn't matter too much. Actually, I hadn't even thought of that in the qualifying session. That might have been why we had such good pace, because it could have been the engine, which makes a massive difference in Moto3, because you see actually this season, well this year, the power modes actually make a difference. Like, I don't think in MotoGP 20 they really did much at all, you know, if anything, but this year it's night and day difference between the different power modes. You can tell, especially in Moto3 anyway, that it makes such a huge difference. And that's why I was using Power Mode 3 so much in the race. And in the last couple of episodes, I've been using it a bit more in a couple of places. But we'll advance forward then to Valencia. Just 1 week then takes us up to the Malaysian Grand Prix. So without any further ado then, let's head into the final Moto3 race of the season and see how we get on. So then, I just did one lap here in free practice 2, because free practice 1 was wet track. And I have gone fastest by 1.4 seconds. It is ahead of Fenati, of course, but I'm hoping that should be good enough here. On last year's game, they actually weren't too strong around this track either. If you remember back to my career mode on that game, if you were subscribed at that point, I actually managed to win a championship by holding up the entire pack and allowing Marc Marquez to drop back through it. And in the end, he got took out by his brother, but that wasn't the intent. The intent was to drop him back through the pack. We managed to win a championship by holding them up through all the corners, because they just couldn't get past me. And as soon as they did, I'd get straight back past them because they were so bad at the circuit. So yeah, it looks like that's kind of transferred over, because we've got 1.4 seconds clear, so we'll end off the session and see how close they end up. So then, in the end, it was still fastest, but ahead of Malaysia in the end by 0.4 of a second. So once again, me and Malaysia are near each other. Hopefully we don't have a collision again in this one. Obviously, we've still got to get qualified under the way yet, but it'll probably be Malaysia near the front somewhere, so we'll probably still come across him in the race. I did actually look back at the crash after the race, and honestly, I don't know what he was doing. He went underneath me, but then started to go towards the outside of the track. He did it on the final lap as well, actually, if you noticed. It's weird line that the AI, some of the AI anyway, take through that corner, where when they're on the inside, they just want to run straight to the outside curb, but like a straight line. Super, super weird. And that's why we collided, basically, because he sat up midway through the corner, which is why I didn't expect it at all, because I thought if he kept his line, we wouldn't touch. But anyway, enough about that race. We'll head into qualifying now. We should sort of be straight through into qualifying 2, I assume, so I'll see you there. So here we are then in qualifying 2, and surprisingly enough, we're still top of the session, because I would have expected them to improve a little bit in FP3, because it was actually clear weather like it is here in this qualifying session, whereas it was cloudy in FP2, but they didn't manage to beat my time anyway. We're coming through Q1 then is Antonelli, the 2 Tech 3s once again, and Fenati. So like I was saying at Malaysia, it's the same 8 riders every time. It's the Tech 3s, it's Fenati, it's one of the gas gases, usually Guevara, and then Antonelli as well. So same old riders there. I do want to try and get one final pole position in this class. So this is my final race in the class. I want to bring home the pole position. I want to bring home the win just to end Moto3 off in style. Of course, we would have won the last race by a good margin, I think, if Malaysia hadn't decided to ride into the side of me. But, you know what, enough about that. Like I said earlier, I don't want to keep going on about it. So we'll get onto the track here. And Valencia should be a pretty good race, really. Obviously, like I said, the AI haven't got the best pace, but it's not a super easy track to pass on. So if I don't get a good start, which, you know, I'm likely to not get a good start, it'll be actually quite difficult for me to make a pass and get back in front. So you won't see the overtake fest that we had at Malaysia, although you can still mirror signal manoeuvre on the straight with Power Mode 3. But I think in a battle for the lead, I'll try and minimise my Power Mode 3 usage to make it fair on the AI. Coming through the pack, I'm not too bothered about that. I'll use that. I've got to get all the advantage I can get. But in a battle at the front with the AI, I'll probably try not to use Power Mode 3 too much where I can. So through turn 1 then, that was actually appalling. I braked so early for that corner, we're going to lose so much time in that sector. I did manage to carry the speed through then, because of that I got straight back on the gas, but it was still a bit too much braking for that first corner. Through turn 3 then, we're half a second underneath Binder's time currently, so it's nice to see that it is actually someone representative at the front that we're half a second underneath in a sector where I didn't think I particularly rode very well. It looks like a Leopard bike up the road in front of me as well, so hopefully we can try and catch it to the back of him. Through Angel Nieto corner then, trying to get on my power. Let's see what this sector time is going to be. We're coming right to the end of this split. 1.1 seconds underneath Darren Binder now, so we are definitely on course for pole position, but I've gone way too wide into turn 8. Luckily, I managed to keep it on the track. I thought I was going to go off into the kitty litter there. We just managed to keep it on the circuit by a bigger margin than I actually expected, to be honest. So I've probably still not mastered this Moto3 bike, even though we've done a whole season on it. I think there's still some areas where I could probably improve my riding style. I suppose you'll say that for the entire year of the game as well. There'll always be some way you can improve. But 1.3 seconds underneath now, so still finding more time through the not penultimate corner, sorry, that's turn 12, then turn 13, and then down through 14 should be the penultimate turn, I think. No, 13 is just one long corner. Okay, so that's twice I've got the corner names wrong then in this episode. But throughout Adrian Campos then, up towards the line. Are we going to go pole position? I think we are as we come towards the line then. 1 minute 40. Again, 2 seconds quicker than AI, so 40.7. That should easily be pole position. There's no way they are touching that. 2 seconds at Valencia, they aren't going to find that in 10 minutes. So, yeah, I think we can head back to the pits now. And once again, should be pole position, the final pole position of the season. So at the end of the session then, Darren Binder still ended up in second place, but 1.1 seconds back of me instead of 2. So they definitely found quite a bit of time during that session. Masia ends up third then, so I've got to watch out for Masia on that front row. The second row not looking much better for me because McPhee and Acosta, we've also collided with them a fair few times in this season. Although Darren Binder, we actually have had a crash with him as well. So everybody in this top 5 we've crashed into at some point this season. So that's always good to hear. But Gabby Rodrigo then in 6th place, 7th for Suzuki, 8th for Toba, 9th for Garcia, and 10th for Andrea Mino. So I just want to end off this season with a bang. I want a clean race. I want to have a good race with the AI. Try and get a victory just to end off our Moto3 career. And it will put us in slightly better stead for Moto2. Although I think every team is interested there anyway. So then down here on the grid for the final time this year. And once again, it's a familiar looking front row. Myself, Darren Binder and Yama Masia. The 3 fastest riders all season. Although of course Acosta and McPhee have been up there as well. And they're on the second row of the grid. So the top riders ending off at the top here. Hopefully we can have a really good scrap with them all over the course of this final race of the season. But without any further ado, I think we should get this one started. I see no reason to hold it up any longer. So let's get this one started and let's just hope it's one last fantastic race.
Riders are all on the starting grid. Just a few moments to go and the lights will go out at the Ricardo Tormo track in Valencia.
So can we try and get off to a good start for the final time here in Moto3? We've had pretty bad starts throughout the year. Hopefully we can finally get one good one. But waiting for the lights to go out here then. Lights out and away we go off the line. We've had a pretty decent start by keeping it in Palmo 3, but we've shifted down to 2. I missed my gear shift because of that, so even when I got a decent start, I still managed to mess it up somehow. We've got 4 riders up the inside into the first corner, so we're down to 5th place, back up the inside of McPhee, back round the outside of Acosta, in the slipstream here of Darren Binder. We're going to probably get past Masia as well, down towards McDowan corner. No, actually Acosta, oh, Acosta's hit, but, oh, wow, Acosta's had Darren Binder off. I nearly said McPhee then in the excitement. I completely got caught off guard by that, but Masia strikes again. Yama Masia taking out another rider. And he's done it at the second corner. He's not waited till the end of the first lap this time. If he thinks someone's quicker, Masia will have him down. And that's been proven right there. Masia takes him out. He now looks back at Costa saying, if you dare come past me, I'll do the same thing to you. So we've got to watch out for Yama Masia in this episode. He's decided that he doesn't want to race anybody for a position. He'll just take you out instead. But Acosta doesn't seem to be heeding that warning. He's trying to get up the inside of his teammate. But Rodrigo's actually had a pretty good start, up into 3rd place. McPhee has been a bit like me, gone a little bit backwards off the line. Initially, of course, he got past me, but then he obviously got passed by Rodrigo on the run down towards the McDowan corner. So on the power as early as I can get. Can we try and close up to Rodrigo? They're all going super defensive. And that is something I have noticed throughout the season. They go so defensive all the time. And it kind of works to a certain extent. It makes it difficult to pass when they've got similar pace because they block the line that you really want to be on. But a lot of times, they just end up going slow because of it, because you can sweep around the outside. This is not an example of that. That is Rodrigo holding the inside pretty well. But then, I got the better exit because I carried the speed through the corner a bit better. And we've got past Rodrigo now, up into 3rd place. We've got a bit of switching off Pedro Acosta, which definitely helps. Acosta is going for the lead down towards the first corner. So we'll see if Masia repeats his act into McDowan that he did on the previous lap. And we've done a similar line through the first corner again in the slipstream of Acosta. This actually is looking very familiar to the last lap where, of course, Masia took out Darren Binder. However, on this occasion, he's kept it clean. And we're cutting up the inside of Yama Masia. If we got the power compared to him, he's got probably slightly better drive side by side with Masia to rev out the bike a little bit there to kind of avoid the contact, because if I'd shifted up and carried the speed through, I probably would have gone into the side of it. So apologies for the abrupt cut there. This probably sounds a bit ridiculous, but honestly, my power went out literally in the middle of that corner. So luckily I'm recording on a laptop, so I didn't lose the race progress, but my screen went off. So that's why I'm in a rewind here, because I cut the next corner because of it. So we'll just pick up where we left off. So apologies for that, guys, but we'll keep going with this racing. So Acosta still leading then ahead of Yama Masia. I think I was actually looking at a pass on Masia, and I'm not going to wait behind him too much longer. Although we have actually got 6 laps at this race, which is really strange, because we only had 4. We only have 4 at Sepang. You think we'd probably have 5 at this circuit, but it's actually 6 laps. So the laps are a little bit inconsistent, because I don't think Sepang really is that much longer than it. Obviously, I know this is over a 2-minute track, I suppose, at Sepang, but you would have thought you could have 5 laps here if you have 4 laps at Sepang. But anyway, enough rambling about that. We've actually lost a bit of ground to the 2 IO bikes. What's talking about that? As we look into turn 11, they lost a bit of time through the sector on the previous lap, getting on the power as early as I can. I do love picking up the bike out of those hairpins, trying to get on the power, because the Moto3 bike doesn't spin up too much because of the lack of power, so you can really get on the power aggressively. Got to watch out that Rodrigo doesn't try and make a pass, because he's pretty close behind us. He might do to me what I did to him on the previous lap, or we might end up doing the same thing to Masia that we did on the previous lap. Or maybe not, but they've messed up the last corner. We've closed into the back of Masia. We've got a really good run on him here, side by side with Yama Masia. Masia just pulls back ahead. He looks like he's going to go flying past Acosta, and I'm in the slipstream of Masia, so maybe we can try and slipstream past a pair of them down towards the first corner. I'm getting Aragon flashbacks here. I'm going to back out the corner. I don't want to dive up the inside and cause an incident again, but we've still hit Masia anyway. So trying to go 3 wide into there definitely wasn't going to work, because I couldn't even go 2 wide with Masia. Masia keeps the position for now. Need to try and pass him as soon as I can. So through this turn 3, then trying to carry the speed through up towards turn 4, Nico to roll. Hopefully we don't have any power cuts this time. We're right on the back, up the inside of Masia. There we go. We've kind of forced him a bit wide, to be honest, but when he took me out in the last race, so I'm not going to be too nice to him. And we watched him take out Darren Binder on the first lap. I haven't forgotten about that. He completely destroyed Darren Binder. But here we go then, we've got a really good run on Pedro Acosta. Can we try and make the move up the inside of us? This is the left-hander where you can probably try and make a move on the brakes. Up the inside we go. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Contact with Acosta. I'm going to sit the bike up, let Acosta back through, because I completely misjudged that one. I thought I could make it stick, but honestly the AI bricked a lot later into that corner than I expected they would. In the past, that has been a weak corner for the AI. It's been super, super easy to make a pass into that turn on the AI and through the corner before as well. But it seems like they've upped their game a little bit into there. So it's nice to see that some of their previous weaknesses are not there, even if they're not so great at the track overall still. There are some corners where they are much better than in previous years. We've got the run here on Pedro Acosta. We're able to drive underneath him. Yes, we do. So up into the lead now. He's trying to hang it around the outside. I mean, fair play to the lad. Trying to hang it around the outside there. It was never going to work. He got hung out to dry. I didn't even force him wide that time. He just tried to run it round. As we come towards the line then, about to start lap 4 of the race. I think we might have this one. If we can keep this first sector clean, we've got enough of a gap, we might be able to pull away. So we had a pretty good lap on that one then, 40.6. We've got 1.5 seconds ahead of Acosta. 2 laps to go. We should have this one. Just got to bring it on home safe. So as we come up towards the line then to start the final lap of the race, I'm actually pretty lucky this is the last lap, because you can see there's not really anything left on the left-hand side of these tyres. So I'm happy that we're getting towards the end, because I think the AI would start to catch me up a bit again, because my lap was a good half a second slower than the previous one. So out of the last corner then, up towards the line, we're going to win the final race here in Moto3. We're going to do a long wheelie. We should be able to hang on to the victory still though. We win once again. So then in the end, of course, we only won by 1.6 seconds because I did that big wheelie up towards the line. But very happy with that to finally get back on the top step of the podium for the final round of the season. Of course, we've won the championship already, but we've got the win heading into the championship cutscene, which would be nice to see if it's any different this year than it was in the previous year. But Masia then ended up in 2nd place, Acosta 3rd, Rodrigo 4th, Toba 5th, 6th place then for McPhee. So McPhee actually dropped down quite a bit in the end. Let's see if Binder actually remounted. I don't think he did by the looks of it. So Binder retired. So unfortunate there for Darren Binder, but not really sure what Masia was doing. He seemed to just completely clatter into the side of him. And that move there by Masia actually makes a bit more sense now. It decided his second position in the Riders' Championship, back ahead by 3 points. So a very tactical take out there by Yama Masia to get that position back. And actually, it'll be interesting to see what the Constructors looks like. Very, very close, but of course, they actually did need a win, didn't they, Red Bull KTM IO? So no wonder both their bikes were fighting at the front. They also needed the Petronas bikes to not score anything. So 13 points the gap in the end. Pretty close, actually. They were pretty close, but not quite good enough there for Red Bull KTM IO. I end up third in effectively a one-rider team because my teammates never scored anything, so not too bad. I think Tatai brought a couple points in, Antonelli probably brought a couple points in here and there, but they never really, brought anything substantial. So it was effectively just me carrying them up to that third place, because I don't think they'd have got, 135 points, either of them, so I think we would have beat 658 with just my tally. But interestingly enough, speaking of 658, they were tied with Indonesian Gresini at the end. So after all that racing, a team actually ends up tied there. So that's quite interesting to see. But we'll head back to the career hub now then. We should get the championship winning cutscene after that fantastic last race. Good battle with the 2 IO bikes. A power cut in the middle. You can't really ask for any more entertainment than that. So that was actually a really cool cutscene because we got to see the rider ride into the garage. The garage section was the same, but we got to see the rider from on board riding into the garage. And then when he went to get the trophy, you could see the helmets of all the previous world champions, that's a really nice touch. That's actually quite a good improvement, I've got to say, because that cutscene was a bit bare before that. But that's nice to see those little things. And to actually see the rider riding into the pits is nice as well. So from this weekend then we gained 10,500 reputation, which takes us up to 159,150. And on the credits front we gained 8,158 because of course we got that race victory, which takes us up to 133,217. But all of this of course is before we get any championship bonuses. They can see gaining a good amount of research data again, but of course we don't need that at all. So 10,000 reputation for the team objective, 10,000 for the VIP multiplier, and we get 21,000 for the team objective on the credits and 21,000 for the VIP multiplier as well. So we now have 176,471 credits and 179,150 reputation. But the thing that's really cool to see here as well, we get to have a look at our stats. So 13 victories, 13 podiums. We didn't actually stand on the podium unless it was a win. 16 pole positions as well. Out of 19 races, that's not bad going. Obviously, in the pole positions, the only times we didn't get pole were Aragon, when we spent the tyre because we accidentally invalidated, Silverstone, where there was no grip, and in Catalonia, where it was wet and Mina just pipped us by a few thousandths of a second. So, a very good season overall. A little bit inconsistent because, honestly, 13 podiums out of 19 races. There were 6 races we weren't on the podium, and in 4 of those races we scored no points. In one of them we didn't score many, and to be fair, Malaysia wasn't too bad. 7th place was a pretty good recovery, but a pretty spotty but very good overall season. So we've got 8 notifications here. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of teams trying to apply for us. Search contracts with factory teams. Oh, okay. I didn't expect this. So we could actually skip Moto2 entirely if I wanted to here, because we have enough reputation to go onto either of the Esponsorama bikes, the Aprilia Team Gresini bike, or the LCR Honda Castrol. So quite why my proposal chance with them is high already. That, you know, they've gone from absolutely no interest at all to high in one go. I guess that's because of all the reputation we just gained for winning the championship. But wow, that's a little bit interesting. I'm not going to sign with the MotoGP team. I am going to go through Moto2 because I think that's part of the career mode, isn't it? And you also want to get the achievements of winning the Moto2 championship, and you want to just build yourself up. So for now, we've got our pick of Moto2 teams, but I will sign for those in the next episode. We'll have to deal with that in the next one. You're not going to see that in this one. And we actually have got a new personal manager applying as well. It is Liam Smith, A+. Now, this is the kind of personal manager you want to go with. That's why I've been holding off this season so far. And I think, honestly, the VIP multiplier that you get for pre-ordering kind of breaks the game a little bit, because we've got a lot more reputation than we should as a Moto3 rider. We probably should have half of that reputation effectively, because we're now getting offered MotoGP rides. You know, we've got really good personal managers, which makes sense in real life, actually. You would probably get offered MotoGP rides if you dominated a Moto3 championship in that manner. But honestly, it kind of breaks the game, because it's already saying, oh yeah, you could go to MotoGP. But we're not going to do that, of course, we're going to Moto2. But that pretty much brings this episode to a close, and so I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Like I did say at the start of the episode, I have got a bit of time off now, so I'm going to try and bring as many videos as I can. We should really get stuck into the Moto2 season. Not going to reveal just yet who I'm signing with, but you can probably guess, because I think I did mention it in a previous episode, which team I was looking at maybe going for. When you've got your pick, you're going to go for a top team, so that's all I'm going to say about it. But I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.